Okay, in order to make a lid and a coil base for it and a handle, I'm going to show you how to do that with our already formed pot that we have here. This is an example of a pinch pot. You should have already wedged your clay to work with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to break off a piece of that to make our lid for our pinch pot. So we're just going to kind of tap it or kind of pat it, you can choose, but you want it a nice flat and we can push it down here on the mat, take it off and push it out till we get about the size of our pot like this. And then what we can do is we're going to mark the underneath side to show where we need to cut off the excess. So I'm just going around and marking it a little bit with my knife. Put this to the side. So if you notice where I have this line going around the outside, that's the size of our pot here. So I'm just going to cut the excess off. And you don't want it to be too thin that it's going to cave in the middle or crack. So you want it maybe about a thumb's width or a thumb's height. So that's about the thickness that you want of your clay. We can peel it off and put it on here and see how it fits. Maybe take off a little bit more here and there to make sure that it fits correctly. Once you get that all done, you've got your lid. But one thing about doing pottery and lids is you want to make sure when it's all fired and done that it won't slide off and break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little bit of a coil, and I am going to put it on the inside of this so that it fits down inside this and it doesn't move back and forth and slide off. So I can let that sit there. And I'm just going to make a coil or a snake-like thing by rolling it out here with my fingers. So I kind of have like a snake like this. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on the inside. And how I mean is the inside, I want it to be able for this coil to fit inside this pot so it doesn't slide off. So I think that's about the right size. And I'm going to kind of lay it on here to figure out where I need to score it. So in order to score it, that means that you're tearing up the surface so that you make more area for it to be stuck together. So what I'm going to do is I've laid this on top and I've gone through and I've made a little mark where the inside of it is. So now I can take this fork and I can scratch the surface to give it more area for it to stick to. So this is scoring the surface. So we're just kind of tearing up this area. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add this to my slip. I'm going to do the same thing on this coil. Is I'm going to tear up the surface. So as you can tell, this looks torn up. And this coil does too, that I've just torn up the surface. So this is scoring. Now I'm going to take, this slip is watered down clay, and this is going to be the glue that keeps it together, but we call it slip. So I'm going to put this runny clay or slip and put it on this scratch surface area, and this just kind of helps cement it down so that way it doesn't break apart. It almost looks like we're smoothing it out, but we're just kind of adhering it or gluing it. I'm going to do the same to the coil as well. And then I'm going to push it down. To where it will look like that. And you can take this or your finger and smooth it out here, and just to make sure that it stays in one spot. You can do that on the inside and the outside as well, all the way around. And then just to make sure it fits, it's going to fit snugly and fit on your pot like that. So that way when you pull it apart, this will keep it from sliding off. So that is on there. We've attached it, and if you would like to put a handle on, you can do a coil if you would like. You could make it into a ball if you would like. But in order to attach it again, we do have to score the surface and score this surface and slip it and attach it. So that way you will have a handle to be able to take it off and on your pot when it's all fired. Right now I wouldn't pull on it because it will come undone until we get it all dried and fired in the kiln. You can also add different handles if you would like to your pot itself. So I could come up with a coil like this, slip and score this to attach it. One recommendation I would make if you're going to do a coil like that is make it a little longer than what you would need it, so that way we'd have more of a surface area to attach it. Curve it up like that, and then attach this, and then maybe pinch this part off. So that way you would have more surface area to attach this if you want to make it sturdy. So we would score and slip this part here and this part here. And it does look like it attaches really nice when the clay is nice and wet. But when we have it drying and it's dried for a week or two, and then I put it in the kiln, this gets really brittle and the moisture's all out of it, and it does just fall apart. So just to keep your clay together and that you can work with your clay, you need to make sure that you score and slip it to attach any of the pieces to it. When we do fire it, we'll fire it, and then you can come out and glaze it when it's done. Enjoy making your clay pottery.